Welcome back, Vanda crew, to another episode in our vlog series. In episode 2, we made some floor beams for the boat. If you haven't seen that one, I'll throw a card up in the corner for you to check it out. In this episode, we're going to be taking those floor beams we made and putting them in the boat. So I'm going to start by installing our templates here. You'll notice later on that I actually put these in the wrong order. So I'm putting beam 4 in beam 5 spot, and I'm gonna put beam 5 in beam 6 spot, and I'm gonna try to put beam 6 next to beam 7. So yeah, I made these, and it had been a minute since I kind of forgot the positioning of them, so oops, but not a big deal. It took us 10 seconds. This is kind of the point where I realized right here I'm fitting this beam in, and I'm just like, wait a second. So yeah, I come back up here and move all these beams in the correct spot. So this seems to happen all the time. Oops, I'm only human, we all make mistakes, whatever. So the other thing I'm noticing too as I'm putting these back is they're definitely fitting a lot better. When I first put them in, I was like, wow, this floor looks real uneven. Did I just really mess up that bad? So that was one nice thing about realizing they were in the wrong spot. Was, I actually did measure things right. And don't try this at home. I'm just testing the stability. What I'm going to do is lay 2x4s on this existing floor structure right here, and I'm going to lay them across and connect to the forward bulkhead up here, and this will create an even floor length across, and I'll build my floor beams under those beams to make them all even, and then we'll be able to lay. Once we'll take these back, we'll put our real floor beams in, and then we'll be able to lay the floor over and complete the floor. Once I'll do the salon first, and then I'll build up through here, up into the V-berth, through the passageway into the V-berth. Once I have all that built, I'll take all this out and rebuild this back end. So let's get this measured. So I'm gonna start by measuring the length of the boat from the aftmost beam to the bulkhead here. So we just need a rough estimate, nothing crazy. And now I'm just going to cut two 2x4s to that length. Again, we don't need to be super accurate on the length here, so I'm kind of just, got my tape measure on the side there, throw them right next to each other. My final measurement was about 8.5 feet. So I was probably only off by 1/8 of an inch on these boards. So nice, we got our boards. Let's put these in the boat. So yeah, you're gonna see here, we're putting in these 2x4s. We're lining them up across the top of the beam. So you're probably starting to visualize how this is gonna come together now. Essentially, we're gonna clamp these 2x4s to the existing structure in the boat, and as they'll run across straight, we'll level them out, and then as we build our other beams into the boat, we'll clamp them to this 2x4 structure. In the future, when I upgrade and I'm putting in the hardwood beams and I'm actually fiberglassing everything into the boat, I'm going to use an aluminum level as opposed to 2x4s to get a more accurate surface, more level surface. So you also probably noticed that there's still some floor panels on top of the floor beams in the aft section, and with me clamping these 2x4s on top of those, my measurements are going to end up being off in a half an inch. So of course we're going to have to remove that. You'll see here too that I moved those 2x4s and the whole structure is already coming apart. I don't think it was even attached to the floor anymore after I had removed everything else. So we're just going to get these 2x4s out of the way here, and then I'm going to remove this, and yep, it just came right out. I didn't even have to do anything. I'm surprised it it was even stable for so long, and I was able to walk on that thing without it breaking. So lucky we didn't have a nasty accident. You know, this whole boat is a construction zone right now, so obviously no one's coming out here. It's just me, and I tend to be very careful when I move around the boat, which kind of makes things take extra long, but you know, I don't really have a choice. That's also kind of why we're getting our floor beams in right now. The sooner we get these in, the sooner we can get at least some type of floor. I'm probably going to put in a temporary floor for a while, since the flooring I want to put in permanently is going to be a wengi. If you don't know what that is, it's a type of exotic hardwood. It's very dark and has a very linear grain. So, you know, that's somewhat expensive. Obviously, I don't want to be putting that in the boat while I'm still, you know, doing a whole bunch of construction. So probably just going to end up putting a plywood floor after my hardwood beams are in. Now, at the time I'm uploading this video, I've actually done a lot more work on the boat. So I've currently made the number 4 floor beam. I've made it out of African mahogany. That's the wood I'm going to use for my interior structures, my frame structures. So yeah, I used African mahogany. It's pretty cheap, exotic hardwood, so it's still really strong. Definitely overkill for my floor beams. I mean, it's perfect, but I also wrapped it in fiberglass, single layer fiberglass and epoxy resin. It's really strong. The plan after that is I'm going to put bilge lights on all my floor beams. So I've got some LED lights. We're going to attach to the bottom of that. Of course, before I do that, I'm going to paint the bottom side. Yeah, so here's some photos of what we had after we put in our floor beam. So that's what we got. Next here, I'm just removing my lazarette doors. This is probably the last wooden thing that I'll be removing from my boat and taking to my home to work on. So yeah, taking out the port and starboard lazarettes. I haven't decided yet if I'm just going to rebuild these or if I'm going to try to restore them. The wood is very nice and it's teak, so you know it's expensive. We're talking $35 a board foot. I mean, these would probably cost me $200 each in wood to replace. So I would like to restore them, but at the same time, you know, sometimes that stuff is just beyond restoration, unfortunately. So after I remove my lazarettes, you know, we're gonna take some mast hardware off. I still need to get a few more things off my mast. Right here we're taking off the spreader lights, and we're gonna take off the steaming light. Yeah, my mast is going to need to be sanded, and we're going to have to apply a barrier coat, and then we're gonna have to apply a primer and then paint it. I think I'm gonna use a 2-part epoxy paint for my mast, and then yeah, we're gonna have to use an aluminum sealant, So yep, we're just taking this stuff off. You know, it's nice to go up to the boat, and if there's something real easy you can do, like remove something real quick, you know, every little bit counts. I tend to go up to the boat and, you know, I do a few things a day, work on it about 2 hours, and it all adds up. I've made a lot of progress, and you'll see in these vlogs how much more progress we made. Even since I uploaded, or since I made this video, I have already completed so many more things. So we've ground out the entire nav station and the galley now. You know, like I said, we made our 4th floor beam. We removed the rest of the wood in the V-berth and ground out the whole rest of the V-berth. I epoxied the I put some epoxy in the bilge where I had a marine foam to fill in some voids, which I did all this before I even started vlogging, but I did record and take photos, so in a later video I'll probably talk about that, but I did that a while ago. So this is my companionway hatch I'm working on. When I work on these, when I restore this teak, I usually do 7 cycles of sanding and varnishing. So I'll start sanding with 60 grit and just get everything off, and then I'll do a coat of varnish, and then 60 grit again, coat of varnish. And mind you, I have to do everything front to back, so you want to let your varnish cure in the sun for about 8 hours and definitely cure for a day. And to let it cure in the sun, you can only do one side, so I do the front and then the back and let it cure. And so we do 7 cycles each side, takes 14 minimum days. You know, you do 60 grit, 150 grit, 220 grit, 300 grit, and you can even go up to 600 grit. And yeah, so you can see this is our hatch. It's actually looking better now. I've already done a whole nother layer, or a few more cycles on this. I'm actually on the 7th cycle, so I should be finishing up, and you'll see some voids in it, but when it's totally done, it looks like glass. This is my 2nd hatch that I've completed. In our next vlog, we're also going to be remaking our engine gauge panel and our shore power port. So I've got some new gauges, and I got a new power port, and I got some teak board. It's 1/2-inch board, so we're gonna make it all. I've already actually almost finished both of those, including 7 coats of sanding and varnishing. So got a lot to show you guys. I'm gonna try and start I'm gonna make a bunch of videos, I think, and queue them up so they start uploading weekly, but I would like to start getting content to you guys on a weekly basis. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. If you like the video, give it a like. If you enjoy my content and want to see the progress of the Vanda 2, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps us out a lot. Also, check out my website, vandacrew.com. I have a donation link up there if you'd like to help us out. Everything helps. Thank you so much.